Every single morning, I found myself sitting on the same cold, hard, and cracked gray pavement, watching the busy world rush past me in a frantic blur of expensive leather shoes, high-end designer bags, and a painful sense of total, heartbreaking indifference. My only constant and loyal companion in this harsh life was this rusted, old tin cup, along with a tiny, flickering hope that someone, just someone, would finally take a moment to see the real human being hidden beneath these tattered and dusty clothes. Then there was the infamous Marcus Thorne, a man whose massive corporate wealth was only matched by the staggering size of his arrogant ego and the deep, dark, and freezing cruelty that resided within his cold and calculated heart. Every day, like clockwork, Marcus would step out of his shiny, customized silver sports car, looking down at me with a sharp sneer of pure disgust, as if my very presence were nothing more than a dirty, unwanted stain on the city's sidewalk. He didn't just ignore my existence like the others did. He made it a personal point to publicly humiliate me, laughing loudly at my daily survival struggle right in front of all his wealthy, arrogant, and shallow business friends. I vividly remember the sharp, stabbing pain of hunger gnawing at my empty stomach while he stood just a few feet away, bragging about $1,000 luxury dinners that he wouldn't even bother to finish or offer to anyone else. One gloomy Tuesday afternoon, Marcus deliberately kicked my rusted tin cup with his polished Italian leather shoe, sending my few hard-earned coins rolling away into the deep, dark, and filthy city sewer where I couldn't reach them. I looked up at him with my eyes stinging from silent, bitter tears, but he only gave me a cold smirk and adjusted his heavy gold watch before walking away into his office without showing even a single shred of remorse. I spent that entire freezing night shivering under the lashing, cold rain, huddled in a corner and wondering why some hearts in this world are made of solid stone while others have to bleed just to find a simple piece of bread. The very next morning, a miracle happened. I found an expensive, heavy brown leather briefcase sitting completely forgotten and alone on the wooden park bench where Marcus usually waited for his private driver to pick him up every single day. When I looked inside that bag, I didn't just find wads of $100 bills. I found the original legal deeds and secret, shady business contracts for Marcus's entire global empire and all of his hidden, illegal properties across the country. At that moment, I held the absolute power to disappear forever with his massive secret fortune. But I knew deep down that a person's true character is only truly measured by what they choose to do when absolutely no one is watching. I sat there and waited for 4 long, exhausting hours until I finally saw Marcus sprinting back toward the bench, his face as pale as a ghost and his usual arrogance completely replaced by a look of pure, raw, and desperate panic. I stood up and handed the heavy briefcase back to him silently. He snatched it away from me without saying thank you, sneering that a worthless street rat, like me, wouldn't even know the true value of what was inside anyway. But as he turned to hurry away, a small, encrypted black flash drive accidentally fell out of his jacket pocket onto the ground, and this time, I decided it was finally time for the world to see what he was really hiding. Sitting in the quiet, dim corner of the public library, I discovered through the computer that the drive was filled with undeniable evidence of Marcus's massive tax fraud schemes and his many illegal offshore bank accounts used for money laundering. I didn't want a single cent of his dirty money. I only wanted the simple, honest truth to be revealed to the world. So, I gathered all the secret files and sent them to the city's leading investigative journalist that very same night. Within just a few short days, the morning headlines were screaming Marcus Thorne's name in bold letters, but this time the news wasn't about his business success. It was about his many crimes, his greed, and his web of dark lies. I watched from my usual street corner as federal agents in dark jackets raided his high-rise luxury office, carrying out endless boxes of evidence while Marcus tried to hide his face from the flashing cameras and the angry public. His famous silver sports car was towed away by the city authorities, and the grand, glass-walled empire that Marcus had built on a shaky foundation of lies and corruption began to slowly and painfully crumble into the dust of the earth. Several months passed by, and through hard work, I finally managed to get a steady job as a janitor at a small, bright local bakery, finally earning a very humble but honest and proud living with my own 2 hands. I worked incredibly hard every single day, scrubbing floors and greeting every customer with a smile, eventually helping the elderly owner turn the small, struggling shop into a highly successful and beloved community cafe for everyone in the neighborhood. 5 long years later, I stood there in the doorway as the proud new owner of that very same cafe, a warm and welcoming place where no human being was ever turned away or judged for being poor or hungry. I walked the very same city streets I used to beg on for coins, but now I wore a clean, tailored suit and carried a heart that was finally full of deep, lasting gratitude and a sense of true inner peace. One freezing winter evening, I saw a thin, broken man huddled over a warm steam vent for a little heat, wearing a dirty, tattered coat that looked far too large and heavy for his frail and weakened body. His messy gray hair was matted with dirt, and his thin hands were shaking uncontrollably as he held a rusted, very familiar tin cup out to the crowd of busy people who were just passing him by without looking. I stopped dead in my tracks as our eyes suddenly met in the dim light. It was Marcus. The man who once owned the entire city was now just another one of its many forgotten and lonely ghosts on the street. He didn't even recognize me at first. He just stared down at my polished leather shoes and begged in a weak voice for a single coin so he could finally buy one hot cup of tea to warm his frozen soul. I felt absolutely no joy or happiness in seeing his terrible downfall. Instead, I felt a deep, heavy sadness for how far a human being can fall when they lose their soul to the poison of greed and pride. I reached into my pocket, but instead of giving him a simple coin, I pulled off my own warm, expensive wool coat and wrapped it gently and carefully around his thin, shivering and tired shoulders to keep him warm. Marcus looked up at me in absolute shock and confusion, his tired, hollow eyes slowly filling with tears of deep shame as he finally realized who I actually was. The very same man he had once kicked in the dirt. He tried to offer a broken, sobbing apology, his voice cracking with intense and painful emotion, but I simply raised my hand to stop him and told him that the painful past was now gone and forgiven forever. I led him directly into my warm, bright cafe, sat him down at the very best table near the window, and served him the first warm, nutritious, and delicious meal he had eaten in several long, difficult years. I offered him a steady job cleaning the tables in my cafe, giving him a real, honest chance to rebuild his broken life from the ground up with a new sense of integrity, honesty, and true dignity. Marcus Thorne, the man who once saw other human beings as nothing more than stains, was now slowly and humbly learning the true dignity of honest service and the incredible life-changing power of a single kind word. He eventually became my most loyal and dedicated worker, a man completely and beautifully transformed by the very same mercy and grace he once thought was nothing more than a sign of pathetic weakness in others. The busy city streets remained exactly the same as they always were, but the people on them were finally starting to learn that power is only temporary, but true kindness is something that lasts for an eternity. I often sat down with Marcus after our long and busy shifts were finally over, sharing stories and laughter about the old days when I was the one sitting on that cold, hard pavement waiting for a miracle. Together, we worked to build a new homeless shelter, using the honest profits from our cafe to ensure that no one else in our busy city ever had to shiver alone or hungry in the cold rain. My old, rusted tin cup still sits prominently on my polished wooden office desk today, serving as a constant and humble reminder of exactly where I came from and the life-changing lessons the street taught me. I have finally learned that true wealth isn't about the numbers you have in your bank account, but about what you are willing to give away to others when you have absolutely nothing left for yourself. Life is truly like a giant, unstoppable wheel that never stops turning. Today's powerful king can easily be tomorrow's humble beggar, and today's lonely beggar can eventually become tomorrow's shining and beautiful beacon of hope. In the twilight, a canvas of gold and purple stretching over the skyline. I stand by the window of my cafe, watching Marcus help an elderly woman to her seat with a genuine smile. I realized that my greatest victory wasn't seeing him lose everything, but helping him find his humanity again. Please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.